Health is very much influenced by lifestyle choices made by us all, and one of these is smoking. I'm going to talk about that in a second. The other three that you need to know about are for the levels of physical activity that someone has in their life, uh, choice of diet, so what they actually ingest and use to fuel their day-to-day activities, and another one is stress levels. So how much stress are they experiencing on a day-to-day basis or on a regular basis? So smoking. There's three main things that smoking has, or how smoking has a negative effect on your physical activity and lifestyle. The first one is it restricts airways. Now this happens in two ways. The first way is that through the act of smoking, tar and other contaminants can actually stay in your airways. So down your track, in your alveoli, you actually get a coating of tar. Now that's taking up vital space of your lung capacity. So if you can't breathe in as much anymore because the space had been taken up by tar or other contaminants, then you can't actually have enough air, or as much air as you could have done if you weren't a smoker. You can't actually breathe as much in. Okay, so the first one is restricted airways. Airways can also be restricted, so the second way they can be restricted is through inflammation. You're breathing in hot, contaminated and poisonous air. Your body reacts to this, and it does so is your airway tract and your alveoli actually become inflamed. They inflate themselves with fluid as a defense mechanism to try and stop anything else coming in. So after a cigarette has been lit and it's beginning to be smoked, then A, they're beginning to be filled up anyway with rubbish, and B, they're actually expanding in size to further decrease lung capacity. So if they increase, less air can come in. Now, I spoke about tar. This has a second effect. So the tar that's actually inside your alveoli. The tar actually begins to coat the insides of an alveoli sac, and capillaries that run past the alveoli, they depend, or gaseous exchange depends on there being a very short distance between the alveoli wall and the capillary. Now, as tar begins to build up, that distance, that oxygen and CO2 has to actually travel across in order to get into the bloodstream, begins to increase. That makes gaseous exchange far less efficient. Okay, so tar buildup can increase gaseous exchange distance, which isn't good. So we've got inflammation, we've got blocked airways and passages, we've got increased diffusion distance, and the final one is the carbon monoxide that is in the smoke. When it enters our lungs, it actually takes the place of oxygen. So instead of hemoglobin attaching to oxygen particles, carbon monoxide actually goes across and attaches to the hemoglobin. That reduces the amount of opportunity that we actually have of getting oxygen into our body and into our bloodstream. So instead of oxygen travelling around in the blood to the working muscle site, what in fact starts to happen is the carbon monoxide attaches to the hemoglobin. That's then taken around, so when a muscle is requiring oxygen, the myoglobin isn't actually getting any because carbon monoxide is there in its place.